Hey, Anna, you know what? Heated rivalry. Love, sex, longing, nudity, hockey, drama, all the things that we love are in here. So I watched the Heated Rivalry series and I have a lot to say because turned out after the first watch, I missed a lot. I was rushing, and because of that, after watching the show, I thought that there are two problems. So let me tell you about that because it was a mistake. So the story itself tells us about two hockey players from rival teams. One is from Canada, Shane Hollander, and another one is from Boston, US, Ilya Rozanov. Ilya plays in the States, but he's actually Russian. So, what happens to those two hockey players? Love happens. At first, they started to see each other here and there, but mostly just for sex. After Ilya approached Shane, and everything is shown just very openly, but also beautifully. Some of you might be shocked, so prepare. And the shift into their sexual dynamics happens really fast, like, first 5 minutes of the show, right away. Yes. And that actually becomes the foundation of their relationship, the intimacy. There are 6 episodes only, so you can watch it really quick. Um, Overall, it all started in the showers when Ilya approached Shane very directly. Well, he is Russian, so maybe that's why he was very direct, like, hey, I like you, you like me, so let's go. He didn't even say it. And then they start seeing each other, first only for sex. But at the end of episode 1, there is a very important rooftop scene. It shows the pattern that keeps repeating between them. Shane is trying to move things from just sex into something more, and Ilya keeps pushing him away. So let me tell you more about this scene. It happened that Shane just won an award. I think it was the best rookie award. And Ilya isn't there to congratulate him. We, viewers, we know that Ilya is dealing with serious family issues. He has emotional reasons to act that way. But the problem is he doesn't communicate any of that. So that was the problem of their relationship at the very beginning, that they didn't communicate well. So Shane is completely in the dark. He doesn't know why Ilya acts this way. So he goes to find him and he tries to talk. And even though Shane feels deeply betrayed in that moment, he still reaches out. He even offers like a handshake. But Ilya falls back on his usual defense mechanism. He hides his pain and vulnerability with sarcasm and distance, like, oh, you're so boring, and this and that. And instead of actually talking, he does what's become their default by that point. He kisses Shane, like, oh, okay, let's not talk, let's do other things. But that kiss is completely wrong for the moment. It doesn't match where Shane thinks they are emotionally. And it's happening in public at a party. That public aspect is exactly what scares Shane the most at that stage, so Shane pushes away and walks off. But he's angry too, because Ilya was the one person he wanted to see down there, and Ilya wasn't there when it mattered. So even by the end of the first episode, you can already see how much Ilya means to Shane and how deeply he affects him. So that's the dynamics at first. Shane wants more, but Ilya doesn't. After that, they keep their relationship going through text messages. Some were very cheesy, very flirty, but the pattern keeps repeating. Their relationship started out very physical, but for Shane, it begins to change. He starts wanting more than just intimacy. He wants to talk, to connect on other levels. And honestly, Shane's feelings for Ilya start developing pretty early on. Even before that shower scene, all the emotions he later acts on are really there. So slowly, Shane starts to feel more justified, more secure in those feelings. Like maybe, just maybe, Ilya feels the same way. So he tries to shift things. He tries to talk about something other than sex. But once again, Ilya is just pushing him away with unnecessary aggression and dismissal. And Sheen has no idea what's actually going on in Ilya's life, and that lack of understanding hurts him deeply. I haven't read the book, so this is just my honest opinion just from watching the show. I want to read a book soon. So, from what we see at first, and it was my wrong opinion at first, Ilya sometimes come off like a jerk. I honestly got the feeling that he was treating Sheen as just a hookup. They don't really talk. Rozanov shuts down emotionally. Yes, we can see that he's dealing with a terrible situation at home and there is a lot of pressure on him from his country, but still. So, after the first part of episode 1, I was honestly thinking, where is Shane's self respect? Rozanov was treating him like a one night stand, showing up for sex and disappearing. Whenever Rozanov wanted, he'd reach out and Shane would always run to him. I was sitting there like, come on, take a stand. If someone treats you like this, you walk away. Or at least set some boundaries. At the same time, I didn't yet realize how deep Shane's feelings already were. That's why he kept tolerating this behavior, sensing that something more must be going on inside Ilya, even if Ilya couldn't express it yet. So, back to series. Shane keeps gravitating toward Ilya. They're texting back and forth, and then they meet again at the NHL Awards, I think. Yeah. And Ilya acts like they've never parted, like they are cool, like he didn't push Shane away the last time they saw each other. And Shane is completely overwhelmed and upset by it because he thought they had problems, issues, but Ilya is like, oh, no, nothing happened, it's all cool. So Shane ducks into the restroom to try to calm himself down, but Ilya follows him. And what really got me is that even though they'd already been physically intimate before, that moment was actually their first real intimacy without sex. For the first time, they actually talked and they connected through words, not just bodies. That scene in the restroom gives Shane hope, like real hope, that there actually might be feelings there. The ones he's been quietly dreaming about. For the first time, he sees a sign that this could be possible, and it's just so much for him. After all that confusion and mixed signals, hot and cold, suddenly there is a chance, and that realization overwhelms him. He's emotional, almost unable to process it all at once, so Shane's wiping away his tears after Ilya leaves the restroom. Such a touching moment, and after that night, after they slept together, they finally reunite for real. From there, we actually get to see their relationship start to move forward. So, my wrong opinion, and I underlined it, wrong, was that I didn't really see how Rozanov fell in love. His emotional arc was not clear to me. We see everything Shane is feeling, but Rozanov, with all his family issues, keeps pushing him away. In sex, to be fair, it was all good, like mutual respect and support, but outside of that, Rozanov kind of disappointed me. He was hot and cold with Shane going back and forth and even seeing other people. So, in those first episodes, I completely missed how his feelings were actually developing. In Call Me By Your Name, you can clearly see how both characters are slowly falling for each other, right? You feel it. And that Italian air is practically soaked in love. Well, in Toronto, Canada, the air is different. I mean, that's why. But in Call Me By Your Name, you watch their feelings grow through conversations, through spending time together, the whole movie, you're sensing it. But here, at first, I did not see that. And that's my bad. It's there. It's there. Just stay with me. It's there. So back to series. Despite all of that, after almost 10 years of what I initially thought were random, meaningless intimacy meetings and sexting on Ilya's side, spoiler alert, Ilya Rozanov finally shows that he has feelings too. It becomes obvious once Hollander starts dating one famous actress and Ilya gets jealous. There is a really cool nightclub scene there. When Ilya finds out about Shane and the actress, and that night he goes out to blow off some steam. But Shane, with his girlfriend and friends, was at that club too. And the scene is so good, very scam coded, like Evan and Isaac, when they're dancing with other people, but their eyes are locked on each other. And that tattoo song is playing in the background, which makes it hit harder. You remember that song? Like all the things she said, running through my head. So yeah, that's a great scene. Neon lights, amazing. But well, instead of bringing them together, the lack of communication actually pushes Shane further into that heterosexual relationship. And through those relationships, Shane actually finally realizes that he's more gay than bisexual. He can be with her because what he feels for Ilya is so much deeper. And she's really just a close friend. Still, that scene at the club is so good. And honestly, the music through the show is amazing too. It really sets the mood and adds so much to every moment. So add it to your playlist. There were many things happening, but once they both fully understand their feelings, they end up together. And then on top of that, Hollander's parents find out, and somehow it all turns out okay. So that's a super, super terrible, dry retelling. There were way more great moments. I missed them a lot. The problem was that, as I said, I couldn't see how Rozanov falls in love. We are shown Shane's emotional journey so clearly. He's always there, always showing up for Ilya, supporting him, choosing him again and again. Meanwhile, Ilya keeps pushing him away over and over. So for Shane, especially in the beginning, it's this constant emotional push and pull. Hope, rejection, closeness, distance. It's painful to watch. And then it turns out that all this time Ilya was in love, just never able to show it. How it often happens, one cool, distant guy turns out deeply in love inside. So that was my wrong impression. How did it even happen that Ilya was also so deeply in love? I honestly felt like I just didn't see it in the show. I thought that maybe because I hadn't read the book, I honestly didn't see it. I read comments from people who read the story saying like, you can see it in his eyes, or you can tell what he's thinking. But I couldn't, not like that. So I decided I'm going to read the book and then come back with another review, a more detailed one, full of feelings and love. That was my plan. But while I was waiting for the book, I started watching interviews with the main actors, Hudson Williams and Connor Story, and the director of that movie. And they're like, wow, everything clicked. They explained so much, and my eyes were opened. Turns out I had completely misread it about Ilya. So now I have to confess why that happened. I was rushing through the show. Maybe you know that feeling too when you're binge watching just to see what happens at the end. You can totally miss all the little details, and at that moment, all I cared about was knowing what happens to the characters next. So, watching the show for the first time, I was thinking, why are there so many intimacy scenes? Why so detailed? So, confession, I was skipping some of the intimacy scenes. Oh, you would say, what? It's like beautiful. Yeah, I know it's beautiful, but I was skipping it. I just wanted to know what happens next. I mean, I watched the first ones, and I could see that Ilya wasn't just thinking about himself, but I thought maybe he's just being polite. He feels good, so he makes the other person feel good too. Just being polite. That's why later, with the other intimacy scenes, I got into this mindset. Like, oh, I already know what's happening. It's all great. They both like it. So I'll just skip it and see what happens in the plot next. So I completely underestimated the value of those sex scenes. They weren't just sex, they were full of emotion, communication, and character development, and I missed a lot by skipping them. So it turns out, these scenes were there, so many of them, right away, for a reason. Those scenes actually show how the characters communicate and reveal their true feelings. You can see how their emotions change over time, how their connection deepens, and how much they care for each other. So Rozanov's emotional arc wasn't clear to me at first, largely because so much of it plays out through sex. And I was partially skipping it. The actors even say that was intentional. The sex scenes reflects what's happening in their real lives and how the characters cope with it through intimacy. It starts a little bit rougher, but as the story goes on, it gets a little more tender. So do not skip those scenes. You would say, Olga, why would we skip those scenes? They're amazing. I know, right? So do not skip. Through them, we see that Ilya is actually deeply sensitive inside. He just doesn't want to show it. His playboy side is just a performance. He's not looking for selfish sex. He's looking for a connection. So yes, their intimacy scenes are so much more than just hookups. By skipping them, I honestly missed a lot. And honestly, it's so much harder to show their emotional arcs through intimacy than just through conversations. That makes the acting, I think, is even more impressive. Hudson and Connor absolutely nailed it. But not only Ilya, Shane is also going through a lot, quietly, turned out. So Ilya is fully comfortable with his bisexuality. He's not yelling about it everywhere, but to himself, he accepted it and, no problem. Shane is the opposite. Part of him wants to give in to his feelings, and part of him wants to run from them. Shane is dealing with his feelings and how to express them. Also, being Japanese Canadian adds another layer. Shane feels pressure to be the best on his team, not to stand out. So accepting that he's gay is even harder. Mentally, he's dealing with internalized homophobia, fears about his hockey career, worries about what his parents might think, and questions about his masculinity. So I rewatched the show start to finish, and now I can see the full emotional arc, and it's truly beautiful. But there was another thing that threw me off after my first watch. It was the Russian accent. And you would say, Olga, who would talk about Russian accent? Come on. But, well, I am Russian, and I do have Russian accent, as you obviously aware of. I understand both English and Russian, so I watched the show with no subtitles. And if English dialogues were great, the Russian parts kind of confused me. Ilya Rozanov speaks English with a Russian accent, so I thought, okay, he was born in Russia and came to the US to play hockey. But then when he spoke Russian with his Russian-speaking friends, it sounded like he had an American accent. It sounded more like how a Russian kid growing up in the US would speak, not someone who grew up in Russia. So yeah, that really confused me. If Ilya was born and raised in Russia, why does he have an English accent when he speaks Russian? Also, other actors, when they speak Russian, like other actors or Ilya's family members who lives in Russia, they all have English accent. And that was a bit confusing for me. I guess for people whose first language is English, they probably just read the subtitles, and that's fine. Please don't judge me. That's just how I felt. You would say, Olga, you also have an English accent. Yes, I agree. So, to figure this out, I went googly, and I thought that maybe the actor who plays Ilya was actually born in an Eastern European country, or maybe had Russian-speaking relatives. That would explain his accent in Russian. But turned out that no, Connor Story is an American actor, and he doesn't have any Eastern European relatives. Well, at least he says so. So it's all his genius acting, not just the language, but his attitude, body language, even the Slavic stare, lack of casual smiles. Some people online say Slavic people have stoicism engraved in their bones, thus the lack of smiles. I don't know, maybe. Does it? Does it look like a stare? Turns out Connor had only a few weeks to learn all the Russian phrases for the role, and he nailed it. Compared to all the other American actors speaking Russian, he's easily one of the best. Maybe he has a natural talent for foreign languages, or maybe it's just pure skill. Anyway, truly great work, Connor. Молодец. After watching all the interviews and realizing just how wrong I'd been, I decided to rewatch the show. No rush this time. Every scene, every moment, and wow. Yes, it turned out to be such a great story. Now I could see the emotions in their eyes, the way they carefully take care of each other. In the first episode, Ilya was pushing Shane away, but that was only in the moments when he was in pain himself. It's kind of like his coping mechanism, pushing Shane away so he doesn't have to show his own weakness and pain, the protective mechanism, I would say, because they were just starting to build trust, and it takes time. And the story, by the way, is for like 10 years span, so yeah, it took time. Shane, he wasn't giving up. He kept offering a helping hand, listening ear, a friendly shoulder to lean on. Well, not only friendly. Overall, I love the show for so many reasons. Hudson Williams and Connor Story did such great acting. Their performances are really something. Chemistry is there. And after watching interviews with them, I can see how different they are in real life. But you can never see it in the show. You fully believe these are Shane and Ilya. You kind of immerse yourself in their story and live it with them until the end. So overall, the story itself is interesting and touching about two people in love, learning about each other through their moments of intimacy. And I think everyone should watch this show. I don't know if the world is fully ready for this story, but I truly believe that Crave did something important by bringing it to life. For queer people especially, this story feels like a quiet message saying you exist, you matter, you're not alone. So this story speaks to anyone who has ever felt different or out of place. At the same time, what makes it truly powerful is that it's not only meaningful, it's also fun. Have you seen their bodies? Oh my, especially some outstanding body parts. Oh my, it's entertaining, it's playful, it's full of heart. That's what makes it accessible. Like you fall in love with the characters, not because they represent something, but because they feel real. And through that fun, through that love, bigger conversations naturally open up about identity, visibility, pressures in professional sport. The story doesn't force these ideas on you, it invites you in, and that's exactly why everybody should watch it. But still, I want to know more about their story, what they were thinking, what was going on inside of their heads. That's why I'm going to read a book. Yes. So, my friend Anna and my other dear friends watching this video, you need to watch this show. You're missing out. The whole world is watching it. And if you have watched it, let me know in the comments below. I'm curious. Were you, like me, skipping parts and missing the most important pieces of the story? What were your thoughts? Also, very, very important, guys. Check out those hilarious, playful interviews with Connor and Hudson. They're so much fun. They know how to give a fun performance. So for now, goodbye, or shall I say, do svidaniya. That's not actually how you say it. I got infected. No, you say it more like до свидания. So, до свидания.